My name is Sarah. And this is a story about how cruelty can plant a seed. A seed that lies dormant for years. Then, one day, it sprouts in the most unexpected garden. This is what happened to me. I used to work for the Hendersons. They lived in a big house, the kind with too many rooms to count. Mr. Henderson was rarely there. Mrs. Henderson was usually quiet, lost in her own world. And then there was Tiffany, their daughter. She was a teenager then, blonde hair, pretty face, and a heart full of ice. To Tiffany, I wasn't a person. I was the help. She would say it with a sneer. She seemed to enjoy finding ways to make my days harder. A forgotten mess here, a misplaced item there, followed by an accusation. I needed the job. My own daughter Chloe was young. I had to provide for her. So I bit my tongue. I cleaned the messes. I endured. But one day, Tiffany went too far. She was having a party with her friends. Loud music, louder laughter. I was carrying a tray of fresh lemonade. Tiffany saw me. Her eyes glittered with a familiar, mean spark. She walked right into me. Deliberately. Lemonade and shattered glass went everywhere. All over my clean uniform. All over the expensive rug. "Oh, clumsy Sarah," she shrieked, feigning surprise. Her friends giggled. "You've ruined my party rug, Mom. Sarah is so careless." My face burned, not from the sticky lemonade, but from the shame. Her friends were watching, smirking. Mrs. Henderson rushed in. She saw Tiffany. She saw me, dripping and humiliated. She saw the expensive rug. She sighed. "Sarah, please be more careful next time. This rug costs a fortune." Not a word to Tiffany. Not a questioning look. Just disappointment, aimed at me. My heart broke a little more that day. The injustice was a heavy weight. A few weeks later, a valuable necklace of Mrs. Henderson's went missing. Tiffany found it in my apron pocket, the one I'd left in the staff room. I hadn't touched it. I knew Tiffany had planted it. But who would believe me? The black maid, or their precious daughter? Mrs. Henderson looked at me with cold eyes. "I'm very disappointed, Sarah," she said. "You'll have to leave." No questions asked, no chance to explain. I packed my few things. I walked out of that big cold house. The tears finally came then. Hot, angry, helpless tears. I told myself I would forget them. I would move on. I would raise Chloe to be strong, to be kind, to be everything Tiffany Henderson was not. Years passed. Life moved on, as it always does. I found other work. It wasn't easy, but we managed. Chloe was my light. She grew into a wonderful young woman. Smart, compassionate, beautiful inside and out. She worked hard in school. She went to college. She became a lawyer. My heart swelled with pride every time I looked at her. One evening Chloe came home, her eyes shining. "Mom," she said, her voice trembling with excitement. "I have news. Big news." She held out her hand. A diamond sparkled on her finger. "I'm engaged." I hugged her tight, my own eyes filling with happy tears. "Who is he, sweetheart? Tell me everything." Chloe laughed, a joyful sound. "His name is Daniel," she said. "He's wonderful, Mom, kind, funny, so supportive." She told me about him. How they met, how much she loved him. Then she started talking about his family. "They're quite well off," Chloe said a little shyly. "They live in that big neighborhood over by Willow Creek." A small cold knot began to form in my stomach. "His mother is a bit reserved," Chloe continued, "and he has a sister, Tiffany. She sips, a character, I guess." Tiffany. Willow Creek. The knot in my stomach tightened. It couldn't be. Could it? "What's his last name, honey?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "Henderson," Chloe said, smiling. "Daniel Henderson." The world tilted. Henderson. My breath caught in my throat. The past, a dark shadow I thought I'd outrun, was suddenly right here. Chloe was marrying the son of Mrs. Henderson, the brother of Tiffany. My mind raced. What should I do? Should I tell Chloe? Ruin her happiness? Her dream? Or should I face them? For Chloe Sep's sake. The thought of seeing them again made me feel sick. The humiliation, the injustice, it all came rushing back. Chloe was oblivious to my turmoil. They want to host a dinner, Mom, to meet you properly. Next Saturday. Next Saturday, so soon. Of course, darling, I managed to say, forcing a smile. I'd love to. Love to. I wanted to run, I wanted to scream. But I looked at Chloe's happy face, and I knew I had to be strong, for her. The week leading up to that dinner was torture. Sleep offered little escape. Old memories haunted my waking hours. I practiced what I would say, how I would act. I would be polite, dignified. For Chloe. Saturday arrived like a dreaded sentence. Chloe was excited, picking out my dress, fussing over my hair. You look beautiful, Mom, she said, squeezing my hand as we drove. If only she knew the storm raging inside me. We pulled up to the house. It was the same house. Grand, imposing, cold. My heart pounded against my ribs like a trapped bird. A younger man opened the door. He was handsome, with kind eyes. This must be Daniel. Chloe, he said, his face lighting up. He hugged her, then turned to me. You must be Sarah. It's so wonderful to finally meet you. His smile was genuine. He seemed nothing like his sister or his mother from my memory. He led us inside. The hallway was just as I remembered. Marble floors, high ceilings. And then I saw them. Mrs. Henderson stood by the fireplace, older, lines of worry etched around her eyes, but unmistakably her. Tiffany was beside her. She too was older, but her face still held that familiar pout, that air of bored arrogance. Chloe stepped forward, beaming. Daniel, Mom, Tiffany, this is my mother Sarah. Time seemed to stop. Mrs. Henderson looked at me, a polite, distant smile on her face. Then, her eyes focused, really focused. The smile froze. Her face drained of color, her hand flew to her mouth. I saw recognition dawn, then shock, then something else, something that looked like fear. Tiffany glanced from her mother to me, a flicker of confusion in her eyes. Then she looked at me properly. Her perfectly plucked eyebrow arched. I could see the moment she remembered. The maid, the clumsy maid, the accused thief. Her smirk faltered. Her eyes widened, just a fraction. Daniel and Chloe were looking back and forth, sensing the sudden, thick tension in the air. Mom, is everything all right? Daniel asked Mrs. Henderson. Mrs. Henderson couldn't speak. She just stared at me. Her lips trembled. I stood tall. I met her gaze. I didn't smile. I didn't scowl. I just looked at her. And in her eyes, I saw it. The regret. Deep, profound regret. The regret the title of this story promised you she'd feel. The silence stretched heavy and suffocating. Chloe looked at me, her brow furrowed with concern. Mom, do you know them? I took a slow breath. Yes, Chloe, I said, my voice calm, much calmer than I felt. A long time ago I used to work for Mrs. Henderson. The air crackled. Daniel looked stunned. Tiffany looked like she'd seen a ghost. Mrs. Henderson finally found her voice, a choked whisper. Sarah, I had no idea. Her eyes pleaded with me. Pleading for what? Forgiveness? Silence? Dinner was an ordeal. Every word was strained. Every glance was loaded. Chloe, bless her innocent heart, tried to keep the conversation flowing. Daniel helped, though he kept shooting worried looks at his mother and sister. Mrs. Henderson could barely eat. She kept looking at me, then at Chloe, then back at me. I saw the dawning horror on her face as she connected the dots. Her son, her precious Daniel, was marrying the daughter of the maid she had allowed her other child to torment and falsely accuse. The maid she had dismissed so coldly. Tiffany was sullen. For once, she was quiet, shocked into silence. She avoided my gaze, she poked at her food. The power in that room had shifted. I held all the cards, and I hadn't even asked for them. Later, as Chloe and Daniel were talking in the garden, Mrs. Henderson approached me. Her hands were trembling. Sarah, she began, her voice low and shaky. I'm so sorry. Tears welled in her eyes. About everything. About Tiffany. About the necklace. I was a fool. I should have listened. I should have known. I looked at her. This woman who had held so much power over me. Now she looked small, broken. What's done is done, Mrs. Henderson, I said quietly. My voice was even. There was no triumph in my heart, just a strange, quiet sense of closure. My only concern now, I continued, is Chloe's happiness, and Daniel's. She nodded vigorously. Of course. Yes. Daniel loves Chloe very much, we all do. I wondered if all included Tiffany. Tiffany never apologized. I didn't expect her to. Some people never change. But I saw the fear in her eyes too. Fear that I would tell Chloe everything. Fear that I would turn Daniel against them. I wouldn't, not unless they gave me a reason to. My revenge wasn't loud or dramatic. It was in Mrs. Henderson's haunted eyes. It was in Tiffany's forced politeness for the rest of the evening. It was in the knowledge that they would forever have to look at me, Sarah, the former maid, as the mother of the woman their son and brother loved. They would have to treat me with respect. They would have to treat Chloe like a queen. Because their family's happiness now partly rested in my hands? The hands they once deemed fit only for scrubbing floors and clearing away their messes. Chloe and Daniel got married. It was a beautiful wedding. Mrs. Henderson and Tiffany were subdued, respectful, almost deferential. Life has a funny way of balancing the scales. Sometimes, you don't need to plot or plan. You just live your life, raise your children right, and hold on to your dignity. And karma, in its own time, in its own way, delivers the bill. Mrs. Henderson is still learning to live with her regret. Tiffany is still learning that the world doesn't revolve around her. And me? I'm Sarah, mother of the wonderful Chloe, mother-in-law to a good man. And I know now that true strength isn't about never falling. It's about how you rise. Thank you for listening to my story. If it resonated with you, please give this video a like and share it with someone who might need to hear it. Don't forget to comment below with your thoughts, and subscribe for more stories like this one. Remember, be kind. You never know how your actions will come back to you.